Alright, and now we are into game 1, week 1 or day 1, week 1 of Clutch Gaming Academy against Golden Guardians Academy. And bans are quickly coming in here. Rakan being banned out, Talia, Zoe being banned out by the side of Golden Guardians. Talia definitely a ban targeted mostly towards Moon, given the fact this is before the Talia Smite ban came through, permaban. For those who don't know, Talia is unable to be picked with Smite, so before that you could still play it. This is still a game where you can do so, but afterwards you won't see as much priority onto the Talia. And it is going to be that Lucian first pick, Brand being hovered by the side of Golden Guardians, but Lucian definitely an iconic Piglet pick from his SKT days. And it is going to be Zig locking in that Ornn. Ornn definitely can be flexed either to the top or the bot lane. Even Benji might end up onto that pick. Potluck going to be searching around for his pick, and he's going to lock in that Lulu. So Lulu also, again, another flex pick. Can go into multiple lanes here. But same with the Lucian as well. It may indeed not go to Piglet, instead go to the sun, the big star in the sky. But it looks like Moon, he's going to lock himself up the Nocturne, turning off the lights, turning to darkness. That's where the Moon thrives the most. Sun searching for his pick now. So a little less flex potential from the side of Clutch Gaming Academy right now, and a little bit more from Golden Guardians, but adding themselves another flex pick is Clutch Gaming with this support pick of Karma. However, Vulcan is leaning more towards the engaged support, so I would be a little bit surprised, although this would add more lane dominance to that bot lane, being able to constantly shove in and get that wave pressure for Moon. And it is going to be that Xin Zhao locked in for Potluck. Xin is going to be a great pick in order to try and contest Moon at as many camps as possible, contest at that Scuttle Crab, try and slow down Moon's level 6 as much as possible. But we are now into that second phase of bans, and it's going to be the Morgana banned out, directed towards Vulcan. Does provide some of that engage power, but also his range, so, and gives you a lot of that lane control as well. Kaisa going to be banned out towards Benji. There really aren't too many marksmen being played in that bot lane, but Kaisa and Lucian certainly are two of those picks. Now we're looking at Varus or the Ezreal for Benji if he wants a traditional marksman route, and it's going to be Braum banned out for that second support ban towards Vulcan, and Brand being banned out. Again, one of the bot lane picks being picked into that bot lane, but there are a lot of bot lane picks. Now it's up to Benji to see what we end up with. Sheep does play a wide variety of supports. As we wait for this pick to come out, 3 seconds left. It is going to be that Alistar. Alistar, certainly a champion that Sheep can play. It is going to provide a lot of that engaged power in the bot lane as well. A hover between Thresh and Kench. Maybe even a flirtation with Taric there. What are we going to have in the end here? Thresh is going to throw a little more of that engage power along with Taric, but it is going to be that Thresh in the end, providing that lovers duel. Well, kind of lovers duo. Thresh does have the wife in the lantern, so technically you're still together. It's just a weird dynamic. But now we're waiting on Vulcan to pick up the last pick. It's going to be that top lane pick, and it is going to be that Singed. Very interesting pick here. Doesn't work too well against Banner of Command, but if he is able to get going, should be able to run rampant. Just run through that back line. Sheep is hovering onto that Ezreal pick right now. I did mention that there are two really big AD carries that are mainstream in that bot lane still, besides that Lucian Kaisa that were pick banned by the side of Clutch Gaming, and it is going to be Benji going over onto that Ezreal pick. So is going to take a hit during the lane phase against this Lucian Thresh combination, but there are opportunities if Potluck does indeed come bottom. There should be sufficient kill pressure with the power of Xin and Alistar. And it is very standard team compositions from both sides, so nothing overly surprising coming out. Even though this meta has been full of surprises with a lot of mages and bruisers coming out in the bot lane, it is going to be very traditional lanes instead showing up here. So there's going to be a lot of focus on trying to get the Xin going, trying to get him to invade and slow down Moon as much as possible so he doesn't hit 6 as fast. Even if you slow him down by one camp or even one Scuttle Crab, that makes a big difference. Because once he hits 6, there should be a lot of opportunities to make some sort of play happen in that bot side. Ornn will get sort of tanky once he hits that level 6, or not necessarily tanky, but he can be very hard to kill because he does have the Call of the Forge God is able to sound the Ornn horn, and that amount of CC along combined with the rest of his kit makes him incredibly difficult to try and nail down in the tower dive, especially with Singed. Now in the mid lane, you also face the difficulty of having to face against the Lulu, who can wild growth herself and also put picks on herself as well, so she's going to be relatively safe. And she can also polymorph you, so you're going to be running into some of that trouble as well. Even though Karma does have some of that CC and damage provided, but you're going to find the most success going bot lane with the Lucian and the Thresh. You have the Thresh for the CC, and you have a lot of damage coming in from the Lucian, especially with Piglet's Lucian. So I like while it is a little bit easy to tell where Clutch Gaming is going to be going, it is a very good. It's not like Moon is locked out of any options to gank once he hits 6. So I like that aspect of it. However, I think it's really up to Potluck to try and make something happen in slowing him down as much as possible, slowing down that Nocturne paranoia. There's going to be, I would say though, that Benji on this Ezreal will have a little bit of an outscale, and he can also opt for itemization that is more defensive, that will protect him from, I would say, there are 2 carry threats from the side of Clutch Gaming Academy with the Nocturne and the Lucian. They're pretty much the big threats on this team. You could say that Singed, if he decides to opt for damage, could become a threat as well. However, he can also be kited out by the Iceborne Gauntlet that Ezreal could build if he was going the defensive route against the Nocturne and the Lucian. And with the Lulu, he also is relatively safe, getting the shields and the extra pix damage. So I do also like the later game options from the side of Golden Guardians. And we're going to try and fast forward through this game as at least get to the point where the game starts as soon as we can. But I would expect to see Potluck play more towards the top side because he has the Ornn and he has Bob Quinn on this Lulu. And mostly just because of how Benji and Sheep are going to have a little bit of trouble in a 2v2. Although, like I said, Sheep on this Alistar can provide opportunities for Potluck to make something happen. And now we have Clutch Gaming Academy rushing into this bot lane. They are going to try some sort of cheese, hoping someone face checks into this bot lane, but it is not going to be happening. So they're going to cycle up, maybe get this pig onto Benji. Let's see if he's sleeping here. They're going to walk out right about now, and they aren't going to go for a flash play from Vulcan. Instead, it is just going to be Benji trying walking away safely, and that's going to open up a ward opportunity for Zig. They threw down their own ward in that blue buff area, and it looks like Zig actually isn't going to be warding the blue buff. Instead walks over to the tri-bush, or not the tri-bush, but the pixel bush, and wards that instead. So an interesting choice of warding. Maybe afraid that there's going to be a more of a vertical jungle approach, but that's not what we have here. So on the blue side, we have Clutch Gaming Academy, Max Trombone in top lane, Moon in the jungle, Sun in the mid lane, Piglet and Vulcan in that bot lane. And over on the side of Golden Guardians, we have Zig in the top lane, Potluck in the jungle, Bob Quinn in the mid lane, Benji and Sheep rounding out that bot lane duo. And early on, we do see some differences in the starts both junglers are taking. Potluck starting solo in that top side, hoping to finish in the bot. Maybe catch out Piglet here, being too aggressive, maybe. And on the other side, we see Moon getting a leash from his bot lane. So Piglet giving up a little bit of that initial pressure, but is able to very quickly shove out since he is Lucian. And his level 2, Benji is going to take a lot of damage here. Benji could be in a lot of trouble if that hook landed on him, definitely be dead, but instead Sheep is going to take a load of damage in his place. And that's going to be a huge advantage over to the side of Clutch Gaming Academy's bot lane. But like I said, Moon was getting that leash from his bot lane, trying to be as healthy as possible to dissuade any Potluck invades, or at least skirmishes. Zig is going to get flipped and taking a bit of chip damage from that poison. But again, the main focus of this game is going to be in that bot side, whether or not Piglet can get something done. And it's also going to be on Potluck to see whether he gets anything done or is able to shut down Moon. It looks like right now both junglers are level 3. Moon is in that area of that bot side, maybe looking for some sort of counter gank, but Potluck is out of mana, so I would expect him to maybe look for some sort of recall very soon here, but instead he's going to path over to that Gromp. Moon is also going to be pathing into that bot side river and waiting for maybe something happen, but Potluck is in that area, so he could potentially counter gank this. So this is a little bit scary here. The play could indeed be happening here. Flash Pulve in the headbutt onto Vulcan. Great play here, but it is going to be Potluck taking a lot of damage. He does secure that first blood, but does get traded back by Piglet. So Piglet is As I mentioned, the two key players in this game, Piglet and Potluck, both of them actually get kills. And a slight advantage given the fact that it was First Blood that went over to Potluck. So he's going to have a good bonus there. But it is also a good bonus over to Piglet. So both teams' win conditions, I would say, are being helped. And Potluck back onto the map, going to be in that top half. Both Moon and Vulcan are roaming over to this mid side here. A flash play coming from Sun, putting down that tether onto Bob Quinn, forcing Bob Quinn to flash as he saw Vulcan and his lantern coming over here. So it definitely was a bad spot for Bob Quinn. So a very intelligent flash there. And a very good play from Sun, getting that flash tether. But it looks like it could be another roam over by Vulcan. Potluck face checking the bush and could definitely be in trouble. He does get wild growth by that Lulu, but is left out to dry. No mana left on Bob Quinn. He can't really help him there. Sheep just a little bit too late on the roam. And Potluck goes down. And a second death for him. And now it's going to be Moon. Feeling good about himself now. He has a kill and he has more uptime to gather that farm. Is going to hit 6 very, very soon. And that could spell trouble for this bot lane. Is doing his cards now. Maybe he hits 6, maybe he's only a camp away, and he is actually going to hit 6, so it has that ultimate available. Maybe looking for that play in the bot side. Instead is going to turn over to that. Oh, actually he's still finishing Krugs. And it looks like Potluck is doing Krugs over in the top side, and that hook went in. Certainly Moon would look to use the paranoia there, but the hook did not land. And there's no flash for Vulcan available, so he couldn't flash flay them either. But Piglet still looking to be aggressive, even without a jungler, because he has that power advantage, has that finished builds water cutlass, so he can take trades and then heal up on the minions afterwards. So that is definitely going to be a big boon for Piglet. He can also decide to block these mystic shots if he wants to try and get more, to try and suppress this Ezreal. And it's just going to be more farming. Potluck is onto that dragon. It is an Inferno dragon. Inferno does have a small nerf due to the meta, because most games are ending before 30 minutes. Usually the power in the Inferno really kicks in after that point. Hitting that mid-late game status is where it really shines, but still is going to be a plus. It's going to help out with the damage. Every little bit helps, certainly. And because you have some big damage threats in the Xin, and later on it will be the Ezreal. It'll have to be much later on once he gets the 3 items, but you know, once it gets to that point here, that's also when the Inferno Dragons start to kick in as well. So, you know, still a good take for this team. And Piglet jumping in onto Benji, gets a bunch of damage. That burst from Lucian is definitely nothing to scoff at, especially once he throws that build water passive on top of that. Just that extra little burst there. We see Moon in the bot side, also Potluck in the bot side, so things could once again get explosive here. Moon instead going to be clearing out that control ward. So they do have vision onto Moon. And they also have vision of him leaving. And it's going to be the engage onto Piglet. Piglet is going to get lanterned out. Flay onto Sheep. And it's going to be the turn onto Sheep. Benji going to get turned on. Gets ulted by the Paranoia. And makes it out. But Moon could potentially be turned on and does indeed. And that's going to be Potluck exploding Moon. Thank you very much for that, Potluck. Bob Quinn helping out in that exchange. And woof, Moon just blew up there. Potluck now roaming over to that mid lane. Sun is in trouble, does get slowed by the picks. And is going to have to burn flash even though he was able to tether onto Potluck. Just not enough. Had to burn the flash there, but does survive. And it could be the solo kill coming in from Zig, and it is going to be the kill onto Max Trobo, calling in the Forge God to finish off that kill onto Cinch. And that's not good news for Max Trobo here. Potluck waiting for the Skeleton Crab to respawn. Does have the help of Zig over here, but the inside track is going to be given up by Sun, and Moon is going to be jumping in onto Potluck. Potluck trying to return as much damage as possible. Potluck is going to be forced to flash with Moon flashing, but just not enough. Zig wasn't quite able to help him really turn that fight as well, given the fact Sun was also there. And the Sun and Moon combination is going to win out on that trade. Zig also having no mana just doesn't help at all. And it's going to be a reset. And taking stock of the game at this point, it is a 1,000 gold advantage over to the side of the Golden Guardians. They are just farming a little bit better in most of their lanes. Or actually not in most of their lanes. It's really all in that top lane. Almost 30 CS lead by Zig on this Ornn, and he's already building up to that Banner of Command. Once Banner of Command is built, Max Trobo is going to have quite a bit of trouble here. But the big thing is still going to be in this bot side. What can Piglet do to really garner an advantage for himself against Benji on this Ezreal? Ezreal does have that Manamune finished, but he is going up against that Blade of the Rune King Lucian, so he's definitely at a deficit here as far as full-on fights, 2v2s. And we see Moon is again in that bot side, Potluck in that bot side as well. Once again, we're looking at some sort of collision course in these 3v3s, but it could be tilted if one of these mid laners beats the other in the roam. Zig really can take as many fights as he wants against Max Trobo here on that Singe. Singe not doing too well for himself. It looks like it could be some sort of dive play. There is going to be a window of opening. Piglet does look like he wants to push out as much as possible here. And Potluck is going to run as fast as he can to try and meet this. It is definitely going to be a dive attempt here. Benji's going to try and clear out the minions as fast as possible. It is going to be the headbutt pulverize is going to be going on to Piglet, and now it's going to be Sheep turned upon. The ignite could very well take him, but no, the last tick doesn't go through. Not enough to finish him off, and Potluck is now down here to help out. Sun is going to send out that Soul Flare, does get Potluck exceptionally low, but that extra move speed from Bob Quinn is going to help him juke out both that hook and that Soul Flare. And that's going to be a reset coming out from Clutch Gaming Academy. But that's going to open up for this turn onto the Inferno Drake. Clutch Gaming not realizing the timer on that. Maybe they wanted to try and get a reset in to recontest. Maybe they thought that Potluck was low enough, but it was not to be. Potluck decided that he wanted to stay and make something happen there. And so that's going to be 2 Inferno Dragons going over to the side of Golden Guardians Academy. And that's going to be a big deal. Because even with the nerf status, with the games going so fast, having 2 is going to make that extra little bit of difference to make sure your Ezreal is able to hang with Piglet on this Lucian. Potluck in that bot side. They did have the flash available for Sheep. Maybe they just wanted to make sure that Potluck got his buy in. But Moon is going to secure himself that Rift Herald. So big trade there. Getting that free trade. And it is going to be Piglet engaging onto Benji, but is going to get turned upon by Sheep. Sheep is now in trouble. Actually, Zig, deep TP from Zig, and it's going to, his Forge God is going to get canceled out, and it is going to get jumped on, and it's getting very, very low. But Sheep is also getting low, and the 3-man headbutt Pulverize isn't going to be turned on, but instead it is going to just be used as stall to try and slow down this bot lane push as much as possible, while Bob Quinn and Potluck are shoving out in that mid lane, trying to get that first tower, and it could potentially be enough, and it is going to be enough to secure themselves that first turret. Certainly you could give up this bot tower, but it looks like Golden Guardians Academy are going to be staying for this bot lane tower with that banner of command being popped onto their cannon, meaning they certainly have the opportunity of taking this bot lane tower to go up 2 turrets to none. But Nocturne Moon does indeed pop that Herald buff, and it is going to be Potluck again being engaged upon by that hook of Vulcan, and trying to find that line of sight from Moon. It is going to be him getting that kill onto Potluck, but it's just a matter of what else happens here, and it's going to be Benji getting that ultimate landed onto Vulcan to finish off that kill, and it's going to be maybe the extra push into this bot lane, but it is Herald buff going to finish that mid lane tower for the side of Clutch Gaming. So a very good trade for Moon himself, as he was able to get a tower with that Herald buff and also a kill for himself, but it is going to be very helpful for Benji to get that kill as well. He does have this Ninja Tabby finish, and now also has the makings of that Iceborne Gauntlet as well. So he's going to be very tanky and should be able to hold his own against both Moon and Piglet. Once he has that Gauntlet finished, he should be able to do pretty well against Max Trobo as well. But one of the things I failed to mention earlier on was Zig does get blocked by Max Trobo once Max Trobo throws down that goo onto his feet. Isn't going to be able to use the second part of his Forge God. And it is going to be Golden Guardians Academy sieging up in this top lane. They should be able to get it on this wave. Piglet was able to stall it for 1 wave, but I don't think it's going to be enough to stall the second wave. And indeed, it is going to be that tower going over to the side of Golden Guardians. No. It's going to be a reset coming in from the side of Golden Guardians. Benji has that Muramana completed now, so this is a pretty big spike for him here. Cancels that last out, misses out on that last minion. Item breakthroughs here. We are almost at that 2-item power spike for the side of this Ezreal. It is going to be Moon being jumped in, but does get Lantern out, and Potluck not able to finish off the kill. Does expend his ultimate. It's a small window here, but his son in trouble here is engaged upon. The slow coming from Bob Quinn is enough to get Potluck a third kill. So Potluck, while he is dying a lot, also is doing a lot of deeps for his team here. And it is going to be Golden Guardians Academy able to siege out this mid lane, but it looks like the side lanes are going to be a little bit too much, so they are going to reset here. Preferably, they'd like someone to fix these side lanes for them. Zig is going to be going down in that bot lane. Shove out as much as he can. And it's going to be Piglet collecting that bounced wave. So this is going to be a big wave for Piglet here. Honestly, he could have waited a little bit longer for it to push farther in, but wanted to cull the wave before. Now, they do have a lot of vision in this top half, but not a lot of forward vision, so it is a little bit dangerous for Piglet to really shove out to try and take that tower. And he might be caught out here, but is going to be safe with Vulcan there with his lantern if need be. But it should be a focus around the Baron at this point in time. Piglet continuing to farm out here. As we look at the game status, Golden Guardians Academy are 4K up with that 2 turret advantage and the 2 Inferno Dragon advantage, so they are in a definite position of control here, and they are going to engage straight onto Moon. Moon is going to get blown up here. Call of the Fort God and that flash pulverize coming from Sheep, definitely more than enough. And Piglet forced to flash as well, and that could potentially be the Baron being started up from the side of Golden Guardians, or maybe they just decide to wipe out this vision here, but it looks like they are going to try and do the Baron dance, the Baron bait here. Max Trouble is going to drive by and realize that they're not on it, so that's going to be Clutch Gaming able to continue their backs. Piglet definitely would have been forced to stay if they were starting that. And definitely want to try and contest if you can. But Golden Guardians once again in a power point here. Benji has that second tier now stacking, along with the completed Iceborne Gauntlet, so he is going to be able to do a lot of good things against this Clutch Gaming Academy lineup. Whew. So definitely Golden Guardians are in the driver's seat, but there are some comeback mechanics for the side of Clutch Gaming. Dragon being started up by Potluck. Won't be contested by the side of Clutch Gaming. Ocean Dragon, not a huge threat here, but it definitely could get scary if it was that third Inferno or even that Mountain Dragon. And it is going to be that third Inferno spawning, so definitely Clutch Gaming will want to look for a possible contest on that next dragon in 6 minutes. Or is it 7 minutes? I forget the spawn timers. But it is going to be a big point of contest there. Although there is Baron right now being a point of contest. Sheep could be in trouble. He's a little bit out. And Moon is going to pop the Paranoia and is going to engage onto Sheep. And Sheep is definitely in trouble. Could survive with the Power Bob Queen, but it is going to fall to Moon. But it is going to be Benji getting the kill onto Lucian, and now there's no pressure onto Benji here. He could really turn this fight around. The hook lands onto Benji from Vulcan, but instead it's going to be Vulcan falling Moon decides not to take that lantern. It might be a smart decision for him as well, but it looks like Max Trobo is going to be hung out to dry. Benji engaging, landing the Mystic Shot is definitely going to be another kill over to Benji. And Benji getting 3 kills in that fight is a big deal. That should be the Seraph's Embrace or the Archangel Staff close to being finished, and is going to be finished. And Zig also is going to be shoving in that mid lane here. Weren't able to contest or start up that Baron just because it's only a 2-man, and at this point with Ezreal not having that Blade of the Rune King, it's just not enough damage to melt it by yourself. But it is going to be that Baron Vision sweep coming from the side of Golden Guardians, getting that Baron control, setting it up. They have more than enough control, and they're actually going to start it up here. Clutch Gaming do know what's going on, dropping that blue trinket there. Sheep also spotted out on that flank, is going to charge up that Hextech Flash, but not going to take it. And here comes the Forge God coming in, is going to get dodged out by Sun with that lantern. Sheep is still tanking Baron, so he's half health. They're probably going to look to disengage from the side of Clutch Gaming, or on the side of Golden Guardians, but the side of Clutch Gaming have the inside track onto this mid lane tower, so that's going to force Golden Guardians to start up this Baron buff once again, and it's going to force a fight coming in. They don't have that Forge God to start up the fight anymore, but it's going to be Sheep going in onto Moon. Headbutt Pulverize is going to blow up Moon, and Sheep wants more, but gets hooked by Vulcan and could fall down, and Piglet is going to secure that kill. Max Trobo is going to fall down to Benji, and Benji has free reign in this fight, going to land all the Qs in the world, all the mixed shots, but they are going to peel off. They were able to get 2 for their troubles, and it could possibly be that turn once again for that Baron buff. They are going to sweep the vision out, and that might be a sufficient enough vision for them to be swayed not to check. Not exactly enough HP on the side of Golden Guardian, so they are going to recall here. Sun is going to make sure that they aren't still there, and indeed confirms it and walks over to the top wave. I would have much rather liked Sun to maybe start clearing out that vision controlled there, just because of how much vision they already have. So now they're still in the dark here, and that's going to prompt Golden Guardians to make a return trip. And Moon is definitely out of place. Forge God is going to come in and knock him up, and Sheep is going to follow up with the knockup, and Potluck secures himself the kill onto Moon. And with no jungler, that's going to put Clutch Gaming Academy in a very difficult spot, as they have to make some sort of play here to try and dissuade them. They are going to get the hook onto Sheep, and Sheep is dead. And that could be enough to dissuade them, but it looks like they are going to take the 4v4 fight. Potluck falling low here is going to fall down to the poison of Max Trobo, but he is going to also trade his life over. But that is going to be the reset coming through. Sun trying to stop the backs here. Lands the Inner Flame onto Bob Quinn, and that might be enough to maybe get the kill here. He does have his Soul Flare, but it's not going to be enough. Ooh, got exceptionally close there, but it is going to be that mid-inner tower falling for the side of Clutch Gaming, and it could be even a second tower. Piglet also stealing the blue buff, so he himself gets a lot of gold coming back over to himself. Has that Black Cleaver completed for himself, and sitting on that extra BF sword, so doing well for himself. certainly doing well for himself. And the GA is going to be finished by Moon, and that's a big point for him in this build, just because now he can jump in and hopefully survive a little long enough for his team to follow up. But it's going to be that Infernal Drake falling incredibly low, but it's going to be a steal from Moon. But that's going to be his GA popped, and that's Call of Forge God getting a 2-man knockup as well. And that's Moon going over for free. And Piglet now being jumped on in is going to be dying over by Benji. And Benji's going to secure himself a double kill. Benji popping off on this Ezreal pick. Almost has that Blade of the Rune King completed for himself as well with the Seraphs. And he is a monster. And that's going to be Baron definitely going over to the side of Golden Guardians Academy with 3 down. Definitely no contest. And that's going to be a huge gold swing coming back. You thought that with the 2 kills or the 2 towers that Clutch Academy were able to secure in that turn right before the Inferno Dragon, they would be able to maybe swing things back. But with that Baron buff falling, that is going to be once again Golden Guardians put back into that driver's seat. They were able to secure themselves the Inferno to sort of even up the Inferno count, but would you really say that's worth it in the fact that they were able to get a free Baron for themselves on the side of Golden Guardians? Definitely not worth, I would say, for Clutch Academy. But it is going to be that Baron buff being run down the middle. No Banner of Commands able to empower that minion, but they still have the Baron minion available, and it's going to be able to hook onto Sheep, but Sheep does not get turned on, but it's going to be Sheep going in onto Max Rule, and Max Rule explodes. Moon is also going to fall down. It's a double kill over to the side of Benji, and Benji with that Seraph's huge shield is going to keep him alive and secure himself the 3rd kill onto Vulcan, and Zig is also going to get the 1v1 kill against Piglet. Maybe not quite the fair fight, but still a kill nonetheless, and that's going to be the full team wipe. Ace going over to the side of Golden Guardians, and that's going to be game going over to Golden Guardians as well. And that's going to be week 1. Day 1 game going over to the side of Golden Guardians.